Hey buddy, what's up? It's Monday. So I just finished an audiobook and it wasn't a great book, but it was about how your outlook on life and how you perceive problems and how you interact with them. And it started thinking about different jobs I've had, and I realized that I've never had a job that I hated. I've had jobs I didn't really like very much, but going all the way back to working at the movie theater when I was a kid, I worked at Wawa when I was a kid. I was in the Navy, I worked at a warehouse, and now my current job. And at least as an adult, meaning the movie theater job, the warehouse job, the Navy, and then my current job, I've actually always really liked the jobs. I've had ups and downs throughout, and I understand that some have particular set of challenges, but I've never hated my job. And I think a lot of that comes down to your perspective on something. I think that a lot of people tend to be very unhappy with certain things because they're not the way they expect or the way they want, or they're difficult or challenging, whatever. But people tend to pin themselves up against the situation that they're in. And that is fine to do in some cases. But I think in the majority of cases in life, it's better to actually think of the situation you're in as a teammate, or at least a neutral party. I mean, the situation itself doesn't really care about you very much. It's just the way it's working. Like if you join the military as a whole neither cares nor doesn't care about, like, let's say how happy you are with the military. It's just the job, it's the career field, and honestly, it's the mission. The mission comes first. They do things for morale and stuff like that, but the really key there is that it's easier for you to sort of adapt to the situation you're in than it is to fight against it, or at least a lot of times. Now, I'm not saying don't stand up for things that are wrong. This mentality obviously doesn't apply to every single situation. There's a lot of like social issues and stuff like that that this mentality does not apply to. However, I'm talking strictly in the sense of when you're given something, try to make the best of it. It's a lot easier to change your point of view on a subject than it is to change the subject itself in a lot of cases. Um, Going back to the military, the thing with the military is it's a very difficult life to live, and it's very difficult to deal with sometimes. You generally have bosses that are a pain. At least everybody faces it at least a little while. I mean, I've always had pretty good bosses, but I still had my share that were, not pleasant people. But in the end, I found out how to work with them, how to work for them, because I was essentially their employee. I worked for them, they were my boss. And I figured out what they wanted and how to kind of deal with some of their more odd behaviors or their mentalities about things. I might not have agreed with it, but we learned to work together to accomplish the mission as a whole. And this is in stark contrast to a lot of people who, like get a job and they don't like their boss, so they just quit the job, which in some cases is fine, but oftentimes they do it because they're emotional over a situation or unhappy with a situation. When, although sometimes it is good to kind of quit and distance yourself from that kind of situation, from my experience, it's more often than not better to find some middle ground and learn to work together. If nothing else, it makes you grow as a person, even though your boss might not grow as a person. But if you learn to adapt and uh, kind of mold yourself around different leadership styles, it can only benefit you in the future. Well, anyway, buddy, that's it for my video. Thank you for watching. I love you. I'm proud of you. Stay awesome.